attachments. For the head like this.
Welcome back, everyone, to Third Street Reactions. I'm Zach.
Shane.
We are back with The Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 3. I was just talking to somebody earlier about...
Jack Wolsey.
No.
Gunway.
The first Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Savage was in.
Yeah.
3 minutes. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right, we left off May and...
OSHA.
I was going to say OSHA. I should have remembered that because I had to deal with that shit at work.
Yeah.
The whole reason we're here is because they went to the planet that Torben was on. We had that...
it might have been Uda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uda. And when they go there, was it a desert planet?
It seemed like Tatooine-ish.
Yeah. Because they had the door and the droid that came out of the door similar to Tatooine and Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
Uda.
Yeah, speaking Huttese.
Yeah.
Well, why does it speak Huttese? Well, is that like its basic programming language?
Just
or was it
associating
English?
the imagery.
It was English, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were saying Huttese just now, and it brought me back to...
yes, let's talk about the one on Jabba's palace.
Okay. Well, so I'm sorry.
But Kamir made the poison for her based on the Bunta.
Who we suspected, or at least in a post-talk, we mentioned that'd be interesting if he was a Sith. Mm-hmm. The internet now, because they're so like a hive mind, that is now floating. So it's going to be one of those things, if he is the Sith, people are going to go, that wasn't a surprise, everyone knew that. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, because you had the hive mind of the internet. So now I hope I'm wrong, so I'm surprised. Like George talked about, you grew up with this, and you get the point when you become smarter than Star Wars. Like I don't know if there is something that can surprise me because I'm old enough to have seen so much TV.
Yeah, it's hard for me to enjoy Star Wars anymore because the idea, the promise of Star Wars is great.
Yeah.
I love the ideas and that it has so much potential.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with Star Wars is it does not often explore that potential. It just says, okay, we have this potential, but we're not going to do anything with it. We're going to keep giving you the same thing every time. And we have Andor, which we discussed. It's kind of like you have Star Wars mainline, like Mandalorian is probably right in here, and then there's in terms of growth and like what it's doing that's new and fresh.
Yeah.
And you have we need to make this for the kids, so that's over here. That's so that the little kids can understand and be hooked and be brought into the series.
Yeah.
And then you have Andor. It's like way over here. And Andor's like, okay, this is for the old guys. They're like, man, we need some mature shit. This is like something that's...
I get that. I love Andor. They actually announced some of these Star Wars series are coming to Blu-ray. I'm definitely going to get the Obi-Wan series, but I'm going to get the Andor series, A, because I like to have my Star Wars physical, and B, because I want to support that series. I want to support content. I would love more content like Andor. I like what we're having so far. It does seem mature and quiet, and there is a mystery building. But I also want it to be good. I don't want it to, if you're challenging Star Wars just for the sake of challenging it, and like Rian Johnson tried deconstructing the Jedi mythology in a way where it's like, oh, these guys weren't perfect. We know they weren't perfect. We saw Episode 3. In their hubris, Palpatine took over the galaxy.
Yeah.
But I don't need them to be like a shady organization.
They don't need to be dirty cops.
Yeah, I don't need them to be...
I don't need that. I feel like the Sith... I don't need my Sith... And this is somewhere I want it to be kept simple.
Yeah.
Black and white. The Sith, I don't need them to be sympathetic. And people that feel like they need to be sympathetic, I feel like you're wrong. Because they are meant to be... You have two people.
Yeah.
Two fucking people of so many generations that are meant to be the concentration of the dark side.
Yeah, you're right.
The concentration of the dark side needs to be kept Lovecraftian evil. I want my evil. I don't want like a bunch of goddamn fucking...
Well, I'll say I need Palpatine to be that way. I didn't need Dooku to be that way.
No, but Palpatine is the one who took advantage of Dooku, seduced him.
Yeah, like I need
brought him on.
The rule of two needs to be needs to be cutthroat. Like that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, it needs to be. No, but the point is though, there needs to be that concentration of evil.
Yeah. Guys, before we jump in, if you want to support us, see our full-length uncut reactions to everything, including this, check us out on Patreon. Let's jump in.
Why do you always run off alone? I don't don't want to do the Ascension. We'll do it together. Come on. Can we stay here a little longer?
How many times have I told you? It is not safe out here.
Sorry, Mother Coral.
There will be consequences from... Come with me.
Zabrak?
Looks like
Quickly.
it, yeah. There are a couple horned species, but it looks unmistakably Zabrakian.
Look at that. Sneaking
What's he doing?
around, trying to steal Jedi kids.
When canon, parents can choose. Because, you know, one of their pillars is freedom of choice. They're not fuck that up. Oh, what are those? Those moons?
I was too busy looking at the landscape.
I thought like satellites, like a red and blue satellite. I don't think she should undermine the other parent.
That's how all parents should work.
Yeah.
Did anyone see them?
I do not believe so.
Any sign of the visiting Jedi?
None. Our scouts think they've moved their...
Not
As
gonna
our
see
leader,
it, then why do I
I've
need
always
it?
deferred to you when raising the twins.
So she's the leader.
But your twins are not normal children.
Pull the thread. Change everything. It binds you to others. The power of two. And tonight, at the ceremony, you will experience the power of many. Your enemies will not warn you before they attack. Block me.
That one's Osha, right? Oh, it's May.
Osha.
I expect more from you.
The Zabrakians don't have pointed ears, though, do they?
Yeah, she might not be Zabrak.
I don't want to do the Ascension. But that's how we become witches.
Witches.
This is how it was during
Witches!
the Catholic confirmation.
Witches.
You know what I mean? This is what it was like for everybody in 8th grade.
Hold hands. The thread tied you together before you were born. Tell her you love her. Ascension is about walking through fear. It is about sacrificing a part of yourself. You think you want something different than life in this coven, but that is because you are young.
But you really don't. That's
The
what I tell my
galaxy
son.
is not a place that welcomes women like us. Witches who have the abilities we do.
Cave
you
that
drawing?
Ray went into.
Stop!
Hatch 2.
Don't look. I want to have my own things. Why? Because I want to do everything together all the time. But why? Because we're not the same. Of course we are. Because we're the only children here.
Persecuted, forced into hiding, all because some would consider our power dark, unnatural. The gift of life!
Not liking the laugh, Shane.
What the thread has tied together, no one can separate.
Oh, so they are moons.
Do you vow upon my death to protect the secrets of our coven and continue our legacy?
I do.
Heart's not in it, is it? Oh shit, I thought she went to the other one.
Do you vow upon my death to protect the secrets of our coven?
I do.
Ugh.
The Jedi! They've sliced the platform.
I know you don't like witches. But witches have been in Star Wars for 30 years. Oh shit! You don't look bald there. Maybe it was fake.
Maybe.
You're trespassing.
Forgive our intrusion. We thought this planet was uninhabited.
The all-knowing Jedi were. I find that hard to believe.
We are concerned that you are training children. The Republic law states...
Brendok is not a part of the Republic.
There are no children here.
My name is Saul.
Osha.
He's a warm face.
May we meet your sister?
I think the Republic laws that Sith couldn't train or whatever. But that was like a long time ago.
Jedi.
They have no father.
Sith?
They have no father.
Jedi do not take children.
Hold your tongue or I cut
Hey,
the
good.
throat for you.
Because that's what I.
No.
Yeah, I don't think Soul should do that. Okay. Thought he was fucking pulling something here, Zach. You can have this too. That's how they get you.
Oh, really cool shit?
Would you like to be tested and see if you could become one?
Yes, please.
Witchcraft, Zach. You're
I suggest you all leave. Now.
Mama, I want to show them what you taught me. The test.
No, fuck, man.
So the Jedi can't legally take children. I don't. So, and I know that. That's firmly in the canon. They're kind of like being these forceful missionaries. I do like Soul, but they still rub me the wrong way.
I agree.
Even though I don't like witches.
It's how they're presented.
Yeah, like I don't like witches, but I'm siding with the witches here.
Yeah.
We must let them test the girls.
No.
We don't have a choice. Osha wants to do it.
I did not bring the girls into this world so we could lose them to a bunch of deranged monks.
It is not your decision.
I created them. And what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them?
But whatever's in your heart, you must say the opposite.
If we pass, they take us away. Again. The Jedi are bad. The Jedi are good.
This isn't about good or bad.
I have a theory. If I'm right, it's gonna be cool.
What?
What happens if the Jedi discover this power? Well, the ability to create life is something that has been passed and discovered throughout time and the ages.
Mm-hmm.
What if something that happened here gets to plague us?
May, I don't want to lie. I want to say what's in my heart.
Lie! The Jedi don't abduct people. That's just, it's known. It's firmly in a canon.
Fine. I promise.
And people can leave the order when they want to. It happens.
Yeah. It's not a matter of what we know is to be the lore. It's a matter of how these people have chosen to present it.
Yeah. They're strong arming them.
Yeah.
It's like the cops will say, we'll strong arm you even though your rights, you might not know your rights. Because the High Republic books, from what I know from people who read them, don't present the Jedi that way at all.
Ow. What are you doing?
I was just taking a blood sample.
Tell us what you see.
Checks out so far. Checks out so far.
A mountain.
Correct.
That wasn't a
What do you want, Osha? I was younger than you are. I was very scared to leave my family. I found out there were many other children like
That's a better approach.
Yeah.
There are other children there?
us.
I want to be a Jedi.
It's in your mind.
We are on our way to Coruscant. They started a fire. Destroyed everything.
But everyone screamed.
Mama? May? We have to go back.
No, we can't.
No attachment.
There is nothing back there.
Yeah, he's right.
And if you wish, your train is my bottle.
She just wants somebody. You know?
Yeah, I feel bad.
A parent.
Because now I'm thinking like my little girl, you know?
Yeah, I know.
That would suck.
Oh, everything about it.
Thank God we got the sweet Korean man. South Korean.
Yeah, the good Korean.
Yeah.
Kaganada? Really?
It's just like Prince.
Like Cher?
Like like Prince. Yeah. I got a lot of things to say. All right, so
I took a lot of notes.
Yeah.
We have Brendock, Coral, who is not a Zabrak, but we're going to call her the Zabrak woman.
she could be mixed, like you said. Like we have seen in Star Wars, species who mix, they do take attributes from both parents.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm just saying, like, in terms of expediency.
I'll call her Zabraklian, like Hylian
Oh, yeah.
and Zabrak.
Zabrakian.
Zabraklian. Zabraklian, yeah.
All right. Okay. So I don't like witches. You know that. I haven't liked them since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Don't like them.
Because I think you misappropriated the term used on a person in your life.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that was true.
It was expressed. Like the desires were expressed in terms of like things that lent that way.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like lent is not the correct term, but
Well, to me, you made it sound like there were like witch-like items and shit.
yeah, like, there's shit that she got into.
Used.
There was like
paganism and.
yeah, it's leaning that way. There's enough about it in your everyday life, like normal life now,
Yeah.
to say like, okay, this is fucking witchcraft. This is fucking bullshit.
Well, that's weird.
I don't.
What about Mother Townsend? You like her, or do you stand by
She's
your
a good
rule?
villain. I don't fucking like her. She's a witch.
That's fair.
She's a witch. Okay, but
What about Jedi Fallen Order?
yeah, she's hot. So
She's an ex-witch too. So
yeah, there you go. There's an out. There's an out. Okay, so we had Zabrak lady and the mother of the coven,
Coral and the mother, yeah.
and they appeared to have something going on. The mother was like rubbing her cheek.
Yeah. I think.
Stop it. And like, they didn't slap her. But
I took it that they were some kind of romantic couple, but there's some power structure.
she's like, I carried them, I made them.
Yeah.
That's what we heard.
So what I got was using the Force to create life.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the potential of that story could be very cool, but it could be very bad to me. I think it has to be used now in a way to where that knowledge is passed down eventually to Plagueis and Palpatine.
I feel like at the
and if
point,
it's not,
I feel
then we're
it's
just
like,
having all these people.
I feel like it's a liquor. Like it doesn't get distilled to its finest point where it needs to be until Plagueis.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I viewed it. It's like, okay, you have this culmination of this knowledge, and it is in Anakin.
Well,
but
yeah,
I get
yeah.
that also involves their decisions.
Yeah, like in the Plagueis book, it was that knowledge has existed, has been lost, and rediscovered throughout the ages. Okay, so I'm going to describe to you a scene that I remember clearly because I loved it. They were good to be vague on the details, but Plagueis is in his lab, mad, right? Like a mad scientist. He's in there with animals, and he's chanting the Force. Palpatine is somewhere else meditating or something. And then all of a sudden, you just felt this magnetic shift. All beings across the galaxy are Force-sensitive did. And all of these animals in this lab, you walked in, they're all fucking dead. And Plagueis did it. He did something to tap into the Force in a way where he understood how to influence midichlorians. Later on, fast forward, during the Phantom Menace, actually, there's this stuff going on in the Phantom Menace, and when Plagueis gets wind of the Jedi discovering a virgin, a vergence in Force located around a person. A vergence is just this naturally powerful Force person, land. It could be a hole in the ground.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, he thought the Force has struck back, like the Force has struck back to the Sith and what they're trying to do. But George in the original script said, and we don't know if Palpatine was lying or not. He tells Anakin, I use the midichlorians to influence. I influence the midichlorians to create life, and you are that product. So I don't know if Palpatine was telling the truth or if he was lying to Anakin. But it's clear that Plagueis knew.
Yeah.
And Plagueis, it seemed like to me Plagueis had a different way of doing it. The witches obviously have a different way of doing things, and we see that in the Clone Wars. They manifest things, the Force, differently. They call it something different. And these witches call it the thread. So, what I was taking from this, and I think it's because my antennas are up in the air, I was getting this anti-colonial feel, like these natives were here living their life, and these colonial Jedi missionaries were spreading their religion, taking their children. Yeah. That was the feel that I got, and I might just because I'm hypersensitive because of the political climate right now. I hope that's not what it was.
No, I felt as though it was very forced.
But
that Mark wasn't there last night.
Yeah, he shouldn't have said that shit.
That way.
Subtlety!
Yeah, no.
You were spying on us? Like, dude, I was siding with the witches. Like, I like Soul, and I like the Jedi in general, but they were an imperfect organization, and this, the way you said it, the way they were presenting themselves in this meeting, it felt like how they wanted us to feel. It felt like how I think they wanted us to feel, or maybe I'm sensitive to this. It felt like a group of people that were weak, and I felt like a bigger group of people that came from a more advanced, enlightened civilization. They were coming in, swinging their dick, saying, "We're gonna take your children."
I use that term at work all the time.
I disagree with the premise that we need to deconstruct the Jedi. On the surface, I loved this episode actually quite a bit. I liked the imagery, it had the chance of being not cool, but I thought the slow motion Weird Witch was weird enough and shot well enough where I bought it. You know how we had that flashback in the first episode where fucking one of them had black eyes? I think we're going to see different versions of different memories. And it's going to reveal that fucking May was being entranced, just like fucking not Tomlin, but Mr. Torben and Tomlin. They should have got a different name.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Or just called him Tomlin as like a nod. Well, the way she did the black eye thing to him, I think.
Yeah, the Zabrak bitch.
Yeah, well, but the mother's the one that said, if you want him to be normal, leave. So I don't know who it was. The mother did say leave.
No, that's what. Yeah, the mother did.
But I
that
think the Zabrak woman did do it to May.
Okay.
Because we had the.
Well, she's like the mother, you might say.
Yeah, one of the mothers. I don't. Yeah. Well, they call her Coral. They didn't call her mother, I think.
My point was that
But are
she
they all
bore the
mothers?
children. She bore the children.
Yeah, she
My
bore-
point. I don't talk about titles and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
She gave birth to the kids.
Yes.
And whether like what I feel about what the hell's going on and with how they created them, I feel as though that should have been distilled over time right down to Plagueis. And I do know, though, in recognition of reality,
Yeah.
let's say that, knowledge is gained and lost throughout time.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it would happen in this big of a universe here.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
And Plagueis made it happen, and Anakin made certain choices that made him the chosen one. It wasn't just because he was created with the Force. It could also be argued that he was created with the Force, and also because of the choices he made.
Yeah, I believe it's both. It's like it was a prophecy, but he did make his choices, and he paid for those choices. And if he was predestined to make those choices, he still paid for those choices.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. Like,
Yeah.
if we have to argue that, like, okay, it makes sense, in canon, that other people could have done that prior to Anakin's conception and still get the same result that we did.
Yeah, so to me it's important that this is somehow, I don't know, Plagueis is going to show up here. But like they threw out the line, what happens if the Jedi find out that we're able to do this? Well, what happens if the Sith find out? It's clear to me that these women are Sith. They are just...
And maybe it's an idea, like maybe eventually we're going to get down to the point where the Sith are exploring avenues where they're trying to look for the Chosen One to make their...
Yeah, there was at least in the old canon, there was in the Sith area, there was a Sith version of the prophecy too.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they're looking for that. Maybe that's what they discovered. Maybe that's why this is important.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't want my Vader story to be like anything to be robbed from that.
I feel the same way. Like,
yeah, I like
this has to contribute in a way that doesn't take away from it, that doesn't rob it of anything. And if it doesn't contribute to it at all, then we just had some other person create life too.
Yeah.
And I think that I would be like, I like the episode, but when it comes to the second level, as a Star Wars fan, I'm examining the lore. I'm trying to look at it both different ways. I would not like that at all for the lore. I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah.
I could like the episode and hate the underlying lore. But
I don't like people trying to undermine the story because of their own, like, I want to get in there. I want to make my own mark.
Yeah, I don't like
and I don't need that.
Yeah, you have to contribute.
You have to respect the lore.
You have to respect the lore. You have to contribute.
That's how I felt about people like tried to write in on Tolkien.
Yeah.
Like people, I've experienced people when I was drawing comics at one time that I want to draw some Tolkien like fan fiction.
Yeah.
And it didn't line up with the lore. I basically told them no.
Yeah.
And they go, man, I respect that. I mean, he was cool about it. He said, I respect that. You're more of a, what's the
purist.
word? Yeah, purist. And for people to stop back and say, well, I want to change that. I'll make this, and this, that. It's like, no, it's not how it was. Mm-hmm. And that's what the problems are with the lore and the Rings of Power. Either way, with Star Wars, it's much more broad.
It is, yeah. I can respect the stance, though. Yeah. I mean, Disney would be shooting itself on the foot if they just contradict. I don't think they're going to contradict anything.
Well, I think it's one moment, though. Like, that's one moment. That's like the singular. That is like the constant in all of Star Wars is Vader.
Yeah, geez, like being born of a virgin is an important event. Of the Force balancing itself out. Now you can say Plagueis caused that, or you can say the Force did that because of Plagueis to balance itself out.
But Vader, though, is the point.
Yeah,
like, Vader is the face of Star Wars.
To me, yes, and
to me too.
Yeah,
like, I feel like it needs to be the face of Star Wars. I will agree with anybody that Vader is the face of fucking Star Wars.
Yeah,
like he is the one.
Yeah,
and the OT, like that's it. It's not Luke. It's not Han. It's nobody else.
Yeah,
it's Vader, and not Yoda. Anything else. So Vader is the one. And you cannot rob Star Wars of that. And if you're trying to, and if you're trying to reinvent it, I feel like you are missing the point.
Then reinvent something else.
I do want Star Wars to mature.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be reinvented.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The potential of the story could be cool, but it could be something I hate, which, you know, I don't want to hate Star Wars. I don't want to hate, besides that, I actually like the episode. I like the characters. I like what we have so far. I really like Soul. I think they nailed the aesthetic. I like it. But if you're going to really tap into a huge doctrine, which is the Chosen One and the virgin birth, then you better contribute to it in a way that doesn't demystify Anakin's story. You know, maybe contributes to the line of Plagueis.
I agree. I feel as though this needs to be...
Yeah.
This needs to stand on its own 2 feet, for one.
It does, but also... but not take away from Anakin's story.
Well, they've literally said that this ties into the Sith, correct?
I heard that it was said that in an interview. I purposely have stayed away from interviews because I heard someone say that she doesn't know Star Wars and she was a prequel hater, and she just caught up.
That ain't good.
Yeah, but that might not be true. Yeah, I mean, and this person, you know, some of these crazy people who just, because they know there will be some kind of one thing that they don't agree with because of their ideology or religion or whatever. It might have one thing, you know, and I'm a Christian, you know that. Some people, if they see one thing they don't agree with, they'll throw the baby out with the bathwater. They say, this whole thing is terrible and woke. You know, I don't like things that are like screaming woke.
I will say, out of the 3 episodes I've seen so far, this is my least favorite.
Yeah.
The first 2 were like solid Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this one is like, okay, this is the meat.
It depends how it ends. If this ends in a way that I don't like, then I'll go back and say, I like this one. If it ends the way, if it just shits on the Chosen One thing, then I'm going to say, well, this is where it started.
Yeah.
To go downhill.
I get that. And my point, though, is that out of the 3 I've seen so far, this one is my least favorite.
I respect that.
Now, we get to the next one. We get to the, you know, how many episodes it's supposed to be. How it finishes matters. And how they tie up the story is kind of an answer to all the fucking problems. Like, if you had problems on a rocky road along the way, or if you went different avenues, if you stitch it up nicely. Like
Prison Break Season 5.
If you stitch it up nicely, it does not matter.
Yeah.
But if you don't stitch it up nicely, and you have episodes like this...
Well, it's like how you feel about True Detective, like the last season, which I think is generally a good season, but in terms of being like one of the best seasons I've ever watched, they didn't stitch it up at the end.
No, they didn't.
So that you can have a great journey, but don't stitch it up, or you can have a rocky journey, but an amazing finish, and it can redeem all the stuff that you didn't like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's why they did this. Like, you know, and I imagine Indira is going to be in a lot more episodes,
but
too.
if you have a series that's just okay... Yeah. And the end of it, it's like, okay, well, hey, there are no answers.
So I'm going to predict that May wasn't herself. I hope not, because I know you don't want to sympathize with a bad person, but I don't think she's a bad person now. I think
she's a kid.
I think
she is a kid, and I will say that kids make irrational decisions. That's just how it is, and if they rationalize that, I'm not going to have a problem with it. I understand that if, you know, the Zabrakian woman, we're going to call her, but the Zabrakian woman influenced her in their walk.
Then I'll completely understand.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But just based on what we saw, May really fucked it up. Yeah. But you could also say it's from Osha's point of view.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. Like, if I heard that Leslie, whatever her name is doing this, and her stuff she's done before, like, she does that. She peels layers, and then you'll see it from this point of view, and then you'll think you'll have the answer, and then you'll peel another layer. Yeah. But it's been solid, but I've already said, I'll say it again. I don't want them fucking up the stuff that George laid out for in the prequels. Yeah. Or making that like something that commonly happens.
When I look back on Sith lore, I want to say this. When I look back on Sith lore, I want some like dark medieval shit. Yeah. Like alchemy, like weird dark shit.
That's what Plagueis is doing, alchemy, dude. Sith alchemy.
My point though is like that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want understanding and just fucking lovey-dovey stories about we understand why you went there and why you did the dark thing. I don't need that. I want the evil shit. Like, you're the Sith. Yeah. You are the concentration of what's wrong with the fucking universe. Yeah. You produced the Empire. The ultimate result of the Sith was the goddamn Imperial
totalitarianism. And
it was people, genocide, blowing up. Like, it was
oppression.
Literally, the fucking planets are being destroyed.
Yeah.
And that was a culmination of what the Sith doctrine was.
Yeah.
So I don't need someone telling me there's some amount of sympathy in it. I don't want it. I want, in my stories,
Yeah.
there to be the evil and to be the good.
Yeah.
I know there's gray matter in between. That's Han Solo.
Yeah.
That's, what's his name? Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Like, those are the guys in the middle
And
that are making ends meet.
Cassian and
Yeah, and Cassian. Like, those are the guys in the middle that are making ends meet.
Yeah.
That make those stories, and I love them for it.
Yeah.
But I don't want the good and the bad to be muddled up in that shit.
I respect that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
genuinely agree.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I
don't need my Sauron in Lord of the Rings to be like, oh, he was an okay guy. He was relatable.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was a fucking fallen angel.
Yeah.
That it's like, hey, I'm going to control.
He was a deceiver.
He was a
the devil.
deceiver.
Yeah.
He's going to control all these people and lie to them, and like everything you think you can believe about him.
That's how I
is
feel
wrong.
about Palpatine. Like,
Yeah.
like we know he was a deceiver. Like, and he can shake hands and kiss babies, but he ultimately had a purpose. No, I genuinely agree with that. I do like gray stories sometimes, but it should not be representative.
There's room for that,
of the whole.
There's room for that. Is my point.
Yeah.
Palpatine, Vader.
Yeah, I don't need Palpatine to have any gray in him. I need him to be black.
No, Maul. I don't need any gray in him either.
Not in Maul. Yeah, but I mean later. I mean, like what you saw towards the end of the Clone Wars. You did say you like that Maul.
I do, because like, I didn't think I would.
Yeah.
Is my point. Like I liked Maul how he was
Yeah.
when he was first given to me in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, okay, well
He's
they
back.
gave me something good.
Yeah.
And so they gave me something in terms of material, not like, okay, he's a good guy. He's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But
They gave a
me-
good reason for him to be there. And,
Yeah, but he still wasn't like Dooku. Like Dooku was the guy that was
Yeah.
like, well, I can get some things done if I just explore this other club.
Yeah.
And it turns out the club's making me kill all these people, but it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
And
I'm fine with Dooku's journey because there's a specificity to it. Palpatine selected him for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it's in the old canon. Like he never expected Dooku to carry on the rule of two and replace him, and
no,
so
he understood that
Yeah,
he was being used.
yeah, I need the devil to be the devil.
Yeah.
I don't want the Jedi to be just this corrupt organization. Like, I did feel like it's not about good and bad; it's about power and who gets to yield it. Like, I think that makes sense in our world, but I think if you're saying it in this world, there's some kind of message behind the idea of the Jedi.
Well, because we're talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay, and I understand though it's not a fair comparison. They're
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah.
But in regards to their outlooks, Tolkien, felt as though, in terms of fantasy, the fantastical, you had there's a clear good and evil. There's a clear, there's a message. Like there's is escapism.
Yeah.
That's what I'm ultimately getting at. Escapism. So I don't want, it's cool to see aspects of reality, like what you would experience as realism
Yeah.
in a world. Like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
I thought this episode was very divergent.
It's writing checks.
Yeah,
And it could be
the
good or
first
bad.
two episodes were
Just
Star Wars.
Just Star Wars. Yeah.
They were Star Wars and they were good.
Yeah.
This episode was, okay, now we're going to get into why I made Star Wars. Or why I'm involved.
Yeah, like
what the point of this season or series is.
yeah. What's the point of yeah? So it's just that's when, yeah. I mean, you're writing big checks doing a virgin birth, so that needs to pay off. Or, well, I mean, it won't mean I hate Star Wars, but I might strongly dislike this story. So I mean, you know how much I love Anakin. Like, I don't think that story should be fucked with. It directly, honestly, would mess with the power and the impressive nature, or how impressive it was for Plagueis and Palpatine to do what they did.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel as though you cannot rob that.
Yeah, so
of the story.
I think it needs to uplift that. I think it needs to be connected.
What the Sith accomplished.
Yeah.
It needs to be exemplified. It needs to be like, okay, these Darksiders, the evil shit.
Yeah.
They accomplished something.
Yeah.
Of importance.
That's very hard.
Yeah. So that's the idea, because the Jedi, and they can experience the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a way. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin, because of who he was, experienced it.
Got it in there, didn't he?
Yeah. So because of that,
yeah,
they cannot, like, the Jedi, okay, we're the good ones.
That's why they have the afterlife.
If you look at...
Yeah, generally shitty people don't go there.
Yeah, if you're good, no matter what the religion is, if you're good in that religion, you get to experience this.
Yeah.
The point is that these rebels, the evil ones, they were able to accomplish something.
Yeah.
Because it's not presented that way in terms of doctrinal knowledge of most modern religions.
Yeah.
The evil side does not accomplish. It deceives,
Yeah.
but it doesn't accomplish something. It doesn't get something done. It destroys things, and the good's got to come in and whoop some ass and
Yeah.
and correct it.
So,
The idea is that the evil accomplished something. It produced life.
Yeah. So, well, I always took it because George doesn't outright explain, and even the Plagueis novel is written in a way where I believe Plagueis and Palpatine, definitely Plagueis, understood how to create life. I don't know. Maybe they thought they created Anakin, but the Force struck back and created Anakin as a way to strike back against the Sith.
Them
To
attempting.
balance itself out. Like, okay, like the bad guys did this, so the Force is going to produce that, and that's going to destroy this eventually. So that's how I kind of always...
But there's no clear-cut answer on that.
There's no clear-cut answer.
I like the idea that they created the life, but the life was turned against them.
The only thing I have about that is the idea that Sith... I mean, like, the idea is, like, something evil having the ability to create life. Like, was it your guy, Tolkien? He said, evil cannot create, they can only destroy or some shit.
Well, they manipulate. They
can manipulate.
They took the elves and turned them into orcs.
I understand that's different than Star Wars. I kind of like that rule, but it also, if the evil did do something like that, that's how big of a deal it is.
Yeah.
If they can't create life, but fucking Plagueis did figure it out with lost knowledge, it needs to stay special.
Even if they did to create the life,
Yeah.
they tapped into something to create the life. Okay, some evil power said, I can create this.
Yeah.
The overall power, the Force,
said,
yeah, you created it, but it's mine.
Yeah.
Like, you influenced this, it doesn't change what it is.
That's
and so they took it and said...
You're incorporating deep Christian theology into it.
Well, the idea, though, is that
your ideas are manifested ultimately and they belong to a higher power.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, though. The Force is the higher power. Like,
Yes.
what I'm saying is that... and that's the idea of any higher power. Like, the Force is there. And the Sith are... like we know from the Star Wars lore that the Sith, they haven't accomplished... like, they struggle and strive to accomplish any amount of like peaceful solution to their goals.
Yeah, their goal. I mean, they're always trying to beat death. I mean, Plagueis figures it out. Palpatine kills him with either some of the knowledge or none of it. But I think some of it. He goes on to try to keep going, and he is successful in some way. But it's like a monstrosity. It's like a hideousness of what the Jedi do.
Yeah.
Like he is like using experiments, putting himself in clone bodies, and
that's my point. Is that
it's not clean. The Jedi
I like the
have
idea,
a clean
though,
way of doing it.
And yeah, well, they have explored the peaceful path more or less.
The enlightened path, yeah.
So it doesn't mean I want to believe the Jedi are supposed to be in that story the example of what is good.
Yeah.
The Sith are supposed to be the good example of what is evil.
Yeah.
Like you have the spectrums. That's how it was meant to be.
The Jedi were imperfect, but ultimately the ideas of a Jedi, like what Luke is when he throws down his saber, how Anakin was during the Clone Wars, like these are these ideals they strive for. They're not perfect, and eventually they fall because of
I
the
get
Sith.
that.
Yeah,
Like the dark side literally should mean the fucking evil part of it.
Yeah.
Where you're willing to kill like Palpatine and sacrifice children.
Yeah.
For your goal. Like nothing matters to you except you.
Yeah.
That's not something I can relate to.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, okay.
That's why the devil is the devil, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where you can only think about yourself.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Like nothing else but you.
Yeah, like what Anakin was telling Palpatine during the opera. I mean, I'm sure Palpatine thought, well, it's more nuanced than that, but ultimately Anakin was right. The Sith think inward only at themselves and how to keep perpetuating themselves,
It's nuts to me.
Yeah.
Like that is so, both ends are like nuts to me.
Yeah.
Like I can relate a little more to trying to care for other people.
Yeah, the Jedi I kind of get. I wouldn't want to not have sex, but, I get
no, not that.
Anakin had a good thing until all that shit went down. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Got to be a badass warrior, got to have a hot wife.
He did.
I do want to end on saying, we did say this last time, it would be a cool turn. In the end, both sisters end up being bad.
Yeah, I thought about that today even.
Yeah.
I thought about if they both just become kind of the
But they would need to get
ones that carry on.
Yeah, so I do need to see like that transition. I need to see. It needs to be convincing for two.
It has to be pretty fucking dark.
It'd be dark, yeah, but they can't be like smiling and thinking, okay, we'll just do things our way. And then they become the Sith. Like, are you telling me fucking just 100 years from now we have Vader? No.
No, I don't agree with that at all. Palpatine.
Yeah. So
100 years from now, you have Palpatine who's like the instrument of evil. I want this to be redeeming.
Yeah,
so.
Hopefully it's good. We want it to be good. This episode could be something I love later, or something where I look at it and go, wow, they really lost me here, and it started here. Mm-hmm. I don't want that to happen. I love Star Wars, so hopefully we're wrong, or hopefully we're right. Both.
Yeah, I don't know if we're kind of just exploring ideas.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's one or the other. A combination of the series.
It doesn't shoot itself in the foot, because I love Star Wars, so I don't want anything fucking with everything I've already said before.
There you go.
Guys, if you want to support us, check us out on Patreon if you like talks like this. If not, we'll see you on YouTube next week.